What's going on, everyone? It's Evan here, and the Nintendo Switch 2 has officially been out for 1 week, so how is it? Let's talk about it. Starting from the absolute beginning, for me, the Nintendo Switch 2 began not on last Thursday, but Wednesday night, because I was here in New York, and of course there's the Nintendo store, and I had a Warp Pipe pass for the midnight release. And I was super excited for this because I haven't really been to a midnight release since Smash Ultimate, I think, was the last one. Yeah, I actually found the receipt for it. Smash Ultimate, December 6th, 2018. And this was the first midnight release I'd ever been to going to the New York Nintendo store, so I had really no idea what to expect. I recorded a little bit of footage from that night. My fiance and I had just come back from a concert. It was a really late night. Yeah, this is how it went. What's going on, guys? Evan and my fiance Meg here.
Hello.
Just got done at a concert. Now,
not just a concert.
It was Post Malone. It was a good concert. It's like almost 12:30, and we are going to the Nintendo store to pick up the Switch 2. I have a I have a Warp Pipe pass, so I hope this shouldn't be that bad, but we'll see how it goes. I don't know what I was expecting. I think I was expecting it to be, because it was a ticketed event, they sold out really quickly. I was expecting it to be like everybody could walk in and buy them and it wouldn't be a huge line, but the line was very, very long. It was like a whole New York Avenue in length, which was very, very long, especially at that part of town. It was kind of discouraging when we eventually did get in the line. We are currently the very last in the line. A very long line. I was all the way back in the line. I was like, no, there must be a mistake. Like, this has to be just people lining up. No, I'm not special. I waited a very long time. Actually, it was only like an hour and a half. Once a lot of like other influencers and people who were invited to attend kind of got through and got pretty much bought everything in the store, the line started moving pretty quickly. I was pretty much dead last. I think I was among the 10 last people to get their Switch 2 for the night. So that's interesting, right? Almost as much fun as being first in the line is to be last in the line, I guess. I guess it's okay because they gave me this sweet Switch 2 trucker hat too. But yeah, the first thing I noticed about the system when I got it was just how nice it feels. Oh, this is nice! This thing is a nice little upgrade from the original Switch and the Switch OLED. Not only in just the size, because it's quite a bit bigger, but it just feels a lot better. I don't know what it is, but this like premium coating on it, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, the texture on it feels really nice. And it's just a much nicer, heavier, it feels more premium than the original Switch. And I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. The original Switch felt great. This feels just a little bit nicer. The one thing that really stands out to me is just the Joy-Cons, how much better they feel. I've actually been using them quite a bit compared to my Pro Controller, which I didn't get a Pro Controller 2, just a Pro Controller 1 that I've had. And they feel great, these Joy-Cons. They're responsive. The sticks feel just a tiny bit better, which, I mean, any sort of improvement from the original ones is good for me. And the mouse feature is awesome, and I'm gonna get to that later because I have a whole thing about it. But yeah, that is incredible. Going from the Switch OLED to what is now an LCD screen, in my opinion, this screen just looks so much better, and that resolution jump has kind of gotten me over the hump of it not being an OLED. Yes, you could tell that the colors aren't as vibrant as what I'm used to with a portable Switch experience, but I can kind of put that aside because we are playing a whole different ball game at this point. The screen is just a higher resolution, the games look better. I'm okay with it. Another first impression thought for me is that this thing just runs a whole lot faster, which it should, but the eShop in particular is so much snappier. Going into the Nintendo Online app, much better. Just going around the UI is very refreshing to see how quick it moves. They really didn't try to reinvent the wheel. It actually is pretty much the same UI that we've just had. But I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I do hope there's themes. I think that's a pretty common demand of Nintendo at this point. It's become a demand that we need themes more than just light and dark. But I was never really a chronic complainer of the Switch UI in general, so I don't know. It's fine by me. I will say too, I just think, in my opinion, this grip feels better to use. I think it's just because the Joy-Cons are bigger, and the magnetic Joy-Cons are absolutely a game changer. They feel great. They're very strong. Switch, you could hold them up by the Joy-Cons. I know I have the grip here, but if you had the system just holding it like this, it would be completely fine. It just feels like an evolution in a right direction compared to the rails of the original Switch. That was Mark 1. We're definitely on to Mark 2 now, and it feels a lot better. And I don't know why I opted to stand and hold this mic for this video, but the act of pulling the Joy-Con off of the Switch feels like you're like peeling a banana. The trigger button feels really, really good. And it's very satisfying. It's a very satisfying experience. I feel like that snap that they used for the Switch in the first generation is a little bit more applicable here because it actually is a snap onto the system. It's not a click down. It's a real thunk and it attaches. But what would a console launch be without good games? And thankfully, there's some to go around here. Okay, so I picked up 3 games from the launch. Number 1, Mario Kart World, Cyberpunk 2077, the Ultimate Edition. I may or may not already own this game, but I needed an excuse to play it, so I bought it on Switch 2. Also, complete on cartridge, big. And, okay, a little bit of an elephant in the room here for me. Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, the game key. Now hear me out here, I do consider myself a game collector, but I'm not above buying one of these, and it's perfectly fine if you disagree and you don't want to buy one. Totally get it. However, I have a couple excuses. If you ask me if I disagree with the game key card practice in general, yes. Will it absolutely dissuade me from buying games on Switch 2 versus something like PS5 later down the line? Yes. But if I really want to play a game and it's only on a game key, like the Yakuza here, which is the director's cut, is only a game key release. I mean, I really want to play this game, so it's just not going to stop me. At the end of the day, the game's got to come first, and when I think about game collecting, playing the games is more important than collecting them, in my opinion. So yeah, I bought the game key. Not going to be something I make a habit out of, but I really want to play this game. I actually haven't started it yet, so I don't have much else to say on it other than I think it looks great. So I will report back on Yakuza, but I could tell you more about the other ones. Within the last week, I think I've played Mario Kart more in like the previous 3 days. So the whole weekend was consumed by other games, but Mario Kart, I've just been getting into it now more. It's very good. It's high quality. The racing is excellent. I love the new, I guess you can call it parkour system, where you can kind of jump off walls and jump and grind on things. It's very freeing. It's very fun. It's very, I was going to say fast because it like flowed with the sentence, but I do wonder if this game is a little bit slower than Mario Kart 8. It feels a tad bit slower. Maybe you need to be good to get fast through the courses, which I respect that. I like a skill ceiling in my games, so that's fine. Okay, on second thought, yeah, the game is fast. You just need to be good at the teching. There's a lot of straightaways, so there could be some like dead space, but if you do use that parkour system and the jumps in a good way, you will definitely be flying through these maps. I also do like the open world. However, it's a little disjointed, and that's where I think the package of this game comes a little bit apart for me. It's Mario Kart World, but the world almost feels like the least baked part of it. This has been getting 8s to 9s on the review circuit. I feel like that's very fair for this. Just saying that the world is a little bit disjointed is fair. There's plenty to do. The P-switches are good. I just wish there was maybe more of a traditional story mode campaign style to kind of bring you through this world and guide you through and show you all of the cool places. And so by the time you're done with it, you're familiar and you can go back and do the things that you saw along that beaten path. However, that's kind of a nitpick. This is still really good. And I played it online with friends, which brings me to game chat. It's not at all a game changer. In fact, it's been industry standard since the Xbox 360, where I spent hours in parties saying things I could never repeat again. But it just feels a little bit different to have this on a Nintendo system, like where I can play Mario Kart with my friends and talk to them across the room, because game chat actually does work really, really well. I'm honestly surprised at how great the Switch 2 handles voice chat without any sort of third-party mic. Just to give you a little bit of a perspective, my TV and my TV stand where my Switch 2 dock is about 5 feet away from my couch, and I had no problems talking to some of my friends in a party while we were playing, and it was great. Yeah, I don't love that a button on the controller is going to be paywalled behind Switch Online, but I can say it works good. I had a great experience with it, so that's just my honest opinion here. These are things that I kind of harped on back on my other Switch 2 video about the reveal, but in practice, it's kind of clicking for me. The other game that I have played the most out of the entire launch is Cyberpunk 2077. Like I said before, I just needed an excuse to get back into this game, and wow, what a great excuse it's been. I'm farther than I've ever been in the game. I'm like 10 hours in, I think, so far. I work a full-time job, I'm busy. But just going through this game, it made me realize what was so fun about the Switch. And that's the kind of freedom to play it wherever I want to play it, even if that means just moving between my couch and my bed. And having this game portably is going to be really great. I could see myself just running some side quests in the future. I feel like in big open world games, I haven't so much recently been kind of inclined to go through and do little side quests and take my mind off of the main storyline. But here, I've been enjoying it. The game looks great on Switch 2. I think there are some scenes which have kind of blown me away at how good they look, and it runs pretty well. I will say in handheld mode with variable refresh rate, Cyberpunk just looks a lot better on that screen. It feels better, it feels smoother, but on a TV screen at like 30 to 40 frames a second, it maintains that really well and it stays smooth for a majority of the duration that I've been playing it. I think the talker here is less about the game and more about that it just exists and it's a full cartridge and that it's kind of become one of the defining games for the Switch 2 at launch. I've played most of this game using the mouse controls with Joy-Cons, which has been a game-changing feature for me. Honestly, one of my favorites of the system. When I'm not playing console games, if I'm on my computer, I'm usually playing something like Valorant or Counter-Strike. I have hundreds and hundreds of hours in those games. And so using a mouse controller has become very natural to me, and playing it here, it's really good. It's really, really good. It feels great. I also tried out the mouse controls in stuff like Fortnite, and yeah, it's competitive. It's definitely better than using the Joy-Cons, and it's, I would say, a little bit better than using the Pro Controller. I think in a game like Fortnite, where I'm going to be playing and trying to play to win with my friends, I'll probably plug in my mouse because it's just easier. But yeah, this is a viable option and a great choice from Nintendo. It's really comfortable. And I think down the line, it's actually going to make a pretty big difference in first-person shooters. Think about it. A game like Valorant could effectively come to this console in a pretty untouched state. If you look at the other console versions of that game, they've been changed and you can't play crossplay with PC. But the Switch version has a chance to do something special and leverage the hardware's capabilities to kind of get itself on par with PC. I think that'd be pretty cool. A couple other things about Switch 2 that I've found myself enjoying. For example, you could never use these USB headsets on the original Switch, but they work just fine on Switch 2. Also, you don't need to buy the camera, the very expensive camera, but you could just use any third-party webcam with USB and it will work really fine. So that's another great feature. Cool on Nintendo for that. And finally, one other selling point for this console that I've talked about before is the ability to play all of your Switch 1 games in backwards compatibility. And that's a video I want to make for another day. However, I will say, man, this just kind of pays for the Switch 2, doesn't it? If you have a big collection like me and you are going to go back to these Switch 1 games, it's really nice playing these in backwards compatibility. And I think Nintendo kind of undersold how good it is, just a little bit, for a lot of games with unlocked frame rates, which was kind of a not so good thing on the Switch 1. It's great now. It's like excellent. Now your games are going to cap out at that maximum frame rate and that maximum resolution, and they're going to play much better than they did before. There are a lot of games that could really use frame rate unlocks right now just because they're capping out at 30 frames a second when they probably could go higher. But in general, this has been a very, very pleasant experience. In terms of Switch 2 editions, the only one I've played is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and just a little bit. I just dabbled to see how much better it is, and man, that is so much better. Actually feels like playing a different game. Big fan of how Tears of the Kingdom runs on Switch 2. I want to go back to that. I don't know if I'll start it over. Maybe I'd start over Breath of the Wild because I didn't play that since 2017. But these games look incredible, great, and I hope Nintendo really throughout the life of this thing makes sure to bring back that back catalog because they did a great job with Zelda and they need to do more. So yeah, if it sounds like I've been glazing up the Switch 2, it's because I've been really enjoying it, and I don't have much bad to say. As a piece of hardware, it's doing really well. It's outsold the Steam Deck in 4 days, and people seem to be loving it, and I'm loving it. The one thing I will say, I guess if I have to knock it, is that it feels a little bit more fragile than the other Switch, and I don't have a case or a screen protector for it yet, and I never felt the need to get one with my old Switch, but definitely going to be protecting this guy a little bit more. It just feels a tad bit more fragile. There are some other improvements here that I haven't talked about, like the kickstand is great now that I'm looking at it, but I never use the kickstand, but it's got a good kickstand. And yeah, I think that is all of my top line thoughts on the Switch 2. Let me know what you think about Switch 2. Did you get one? Are you not getting one? What are your reasons for not getting one? I want to know. And that's perfectly valid, but let's talk about it in the comments because I love starting a discussion with you guys. I think it's pretty fun. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit the like button and press subscribe if you want to help grow this community because we are growing slowly but steadily. And with the Switch 2 out, I definitely want to focus in more on Switch 2 related content and Switch 2 related games, reviews, hardware analysis. I just pulled that one out of my ass. So if you like that kind of stuff, enjoy. And yeah, with that, that's all I got for the Switch 2. And also, I just got a capture card for this channel, getting a little bit more invested into this thing. So if you guys want to see me play any games or stream a little bit, let me know in the comments if there's interest there. I would love to do that. I think it would be fun. But until next time, enjoy your Switch 2, guys, if you're playing one, and I'll see you in the next one.